If you have recently left a senior corporate role and you're trying to build something independent, this video is for you. Specifically, if any of these sound familiar. You're having plenty of conversations, but they're not really converting into work. You're busy, but you can't quite describe what you're building. Or you expected the first year to feel like real momentum, and instead it feels like friction. You're not doing anything wrong here, and you're not alone. What you're experiencing has a specific cause. I've watched it play out across hundreds of executives over the last 20 years. In the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you exactly why. Here's what nobody tells you before you leave. Your corporate role wasn't a job, it was a system. And that system was doing an enormous amount of work on your behalf. Work you'd long since stopped noticing. Think about what happened every time you walked into a room in that role. People paid attention before you spoke. Your title explained why you were there, and it told the room what authority you carried. You didn't have to earn that every time. It was given to you automatically. And it wasn't just a title. You had analysts preparing your information, legal reviewed your decisions. A brand built over decades lent its credibility to every conversation you had. Your calendar filled itself, problems arrived at your door. The system was generating really your relevance, continuously, automatically, and invisibly. And the day you leave corporate, all of that stays behind. It was never yours. All that system belongs to the institution. And now for the first time in perhaps 20, 30 years, you have to generate your own relevance deliberately from scratch without a title doing it for you. Pretty scary. Now that's the real reasons executives stall. It's not capability, it's not the market conditions, not age. Your competency is fully intact. The system that was carrying it is not. Over 20 years, I've seen executives fail in the same 4 ways. Every single time. See if any of these sound familiar. Number 1, mistaking the network for a pipeline. The first thing most executives do is reach into their network. And it works for a while. Coffee meetings get scheduled, calls happen, people are warm and nice and encouraging. But 6 months in, conversations slow down because the network is kind of static. It reflects the relationships you've built in the past. It decays quietly as your former colleagues move on or priorities shift. A pipeline is a different thing. It's a system that continuously generates new conversations. Most executives never built one. They just keep expecting the network to do the job it was never designed to do. Mistake number 2, being too broad to be buyable. Now that's an interesting one. When you ask most executives what they do after they leave, they describe who they were. I was a former CFO, ex-regional CEO, previous head of strategy, and that's all understandable. Inside a corporation, the range is a virtue. The broader your responsibility, the more valuable you are. But in the independent market, it works the opposite way. The market doesn't buy history, it buys a specific answer to a specific problem. When you're too broad, potential clients can't really place you. They can't refer you, and they default to whoever is easier to understand. Mistake number 3, taking the wrong work early. Now, I understand. Financial pressure arrives faster than most people expect, and when it does, the temptation is to say yes to things that are kind of slightly outside of your positioning because it pays the bills. One compromise, then another. Each one feels reasonable in the moment, really. But together, they blur your positioning, weaken your pricing, and fill your calendar with work that doesn't really build anything. The executives who stall longest are often the busiest ones. They're just busy with the wrong things. Mistake number 4, rebuilding everything from scratch every time. Now, without an operating system, every engagement starts from zero. Every proposal gets rebuilt, every follow-up depends on memory. It's exhausting, and it's an indivisible force. From the outside, you look busy. From the inside, you're running hard just to stay still. The competence that made you effective in a corporate role, the ability to figure things out in real time, really becomes a trap because you're good enough to survive without infrastructure until you're not. So it's 4 patterns that I've seen, and here's what they all have in common. None of them are capability problems. They are all architecture problems. Here's what I've watched happen when executives fix the architecture. The conversations don't just increase, they get better. Because when your positioning is clear, the right people find you, and the wrong ones kind of self-select out before you've wasted your time. Work all of a sudden stops feeling like it's being hunted, it starts feeling like it's being attracted. That's great. Each engagement builds on the last one. Case studies sharpen your story. Referrals start arriving from people you didn't have to chase. Your pricing holds because you're not operating from financial anxiety. And slowly, this is the part that surprises people most, the work starts to feel genuinely chosen. Not just work that found you because you needed the income, work that actually you want to be doing. I've had executives come back to me 2 or 3 years into this and say some version of the same thing. I didn't realize, Arndt, how much I'd been dreading Monday mornings until I started building this on my own. And now I just love Mondays. That shift is available to you, but it doesn't happen by accident. It happens by design. So, what does the architecture actually look like? I've spent the last 20 years working with over 1,000 senior leaders across 60 countries through a financial crisis, a pandemic, and an AI shift that's still accelerating, developing a framework for exactly that transition. I call it the second curve architecture. It has 3 layers. The first is a flywheel that replaces the institutional system you left behind, and with something you now entirely own that compounds over time. The second is a set of what I call amplifiers that multiply the flywheel's reach without multiplying your hours. And the third, the part almost nobody talks about, is about the equity and ownership opportunities that become available once the first 2 are in place. I've made a full video walking through the complete framework, every component, every layer, how it all connects. It's on this channel. It's called The Second Curve Architecture, The Complete Framework. It's about 20 minutes, and if what I've described in this video resonates with you, I think it's the most useful 20 minutes you'll be spending this week. Link is in the description. I'll see you there.